Let's pop a bottle.
Welcome to Third Eye Champagne. I'm Kirsten, Langston, author and intuitive. I have today with me Adam Free, who is an astrologer. Hello and welcome. How are you?
Hi, Kirsten. Thanks so much for having me on your channel. I am doing great here in not so sunny California, but we've had a lot of rain, which has been fantastic. We're finally out of that drought, but I am definitely looking forward to some clearer skies and warmer weather.
I am not. I'm not. I'm obsessed with the rain. They said we
Okay,
were going to have thunderstorms. Where are you? Are you North Bay?
I'm in Santa Cruz.
Okay. So maybe you got some thunderstorms because I didn't, and I feel like I got screwed.
Oh,
I
where are you?
I'm in the Bay Area,
Okay,
just
okay,
outside
we're
San
close.
Francisco. Right, we're
Okay.
close. So yeah, so they were like, oh, so thunderstorms is gonna be crazy, and oh my god, and I'm like waiting, and like it rained hard a couple times, and like that was it.
Uh-huh.
Like I got no action, no real action.
Oh man, I mean, we got downpour. We didn't really get the thunderstorms though. We like rarely get those.
Mm, same.
Rarely. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I know. It's crazy. And then I was in the South, like the deep South, a couple of years ago, and it was
Uh-huh.
like they get storms. They get they get real like I'm watching like forked lightning hit buildings, and I'm just like, and this is and nobody cares, right? But I'm like, because I'm from California, I'm like, does everybody see and everybody else is just going about their business, but I'm the one going, you guys, hello, like, excuse me, ridiculous.
Mhm.
And that was like right before we came out of the drought too. So I was like, this never happens, and nobody gives a shit down there because they they get real rain. So tell me, how did you get into astrology?
So I got a reading years and years back when I was a teenager. So it's been almost 25 years. Um, so I just had I was kind of at a lost point. I was like just finishing up high school. I was like, I don't really know what I want to do. I had a reading done by an astrologer. It just put me in this path where I felt like I was downloaded with this information that on a subconscious level I already knew, but he was kind of reading me the information back to myself. It just made me have a much stronger sense of self. So I got that. I kind of went along with college for a while, sort of dabbled in college. There wasn't anything that really spoke to me. I did some traveling then, and then I came back and I started studying astrology. So I've been doing readings on and off for 20 years now. Um, yeah, it's just, and I am primarily a self taught astrologer, which is very possible to do, with all the information on the books and internet. But, as, remembering a couple of decades ago, the internet was like kind of just upcoming. So I had a whole bunch of books. I would order books, I would go to the library and read up on books. The, the good old days, right? When we had books. So yeah, I just absorbed the information. It was almost like second nature to me.
Mhm.
I'm a Virgo sun sign, so I can have that really analytical ability, the ability to be able to organize, to read charts. And then my moon's in Pisces, which has a strong intuitive nature. So I'm able to intuit things. I'm able to, relate with people on a real psychological and personal and emotional basis as well. So that combination really, really goes excellent with getting your chart read.
So what would be, let's say somebody just like wants to understand astrology. What are some books you would recommend?
Yeah, so some books that I would recommend. Let me see, let me see here. Okay, there is this great book. It's called Astrology for Beginners. Um, or anything having to do with like the Astro for Dummies. The For Dummies books. That's actually
Yeah.
the number one thing that I would recommend. I actually have it, the Astrology for Dummies. And let me tell you something though. That book has so much information. Um, the title is a little bit misleading. But that is a wonderful book. It goes chapter by chapter. It separates things. It organizes things, right? Because when you're first learning, it really helps to create some sort of sense of organization and build upon that organization. You know, some books you open them and you start to read them, and they're like too advanced. They're talking about astrological combinations and aspects and things like that. But you know, you need to take things step by step.
So one more technical question, and then I know you have some interesting
Sure.
astrology coming up you're going to tell us about. Um,
Yeah.
when you're looking at a chart, and a lot of people want predictive astrology, right? They want you to go, oh, okay, so this April you're going to break your ankle, which you cannot do. You really can't. I mean, you can't get that specific in astrology.
No.
Um,
No.
but how do you feel? How do you feel about predictive astrology? I mean, you think it's a lot
Yeah.
of people
So
are doing it too.
yeah. So what I do is I do transit charts. So you know, say like someone is about um to maybe move to a different state. You know, they've been in sort of a rut. They're like, I need to get up, I need to go. I'm thinking about 8 months from now. So I'll look at a transit chart, which are the planets that are transiting at that time. Um, so I'll look at it then, and then I'll type in the location which they're going to live, and then I'll do an overall forecast. But with a combination of them asking me as many questions. It needs to be
Mm.
a good reading is really interactive. Everyone comes to me because they're either at some sort of crossroads, right? Or you need some sort of information about something. So the more interactive, the better. You know, it's like what I'm doing is I'm reading and I'm conveying to them what they on some subconscious level already know. I'm just helping them register it and gain clarity about it.
For those of you that don't know, so when the north node, when the nodes are moved, that's where you get your eclipses. So when everybody's talking about, oh, it's eclipse season, that's what. So we're doing eclipses on the Aries Libra axis worldwide. I think it's the whole year, right? It's the whole year. I think we have one in Pisces, but the rest are Libra, Aries, Libra, Aries.
The a big eclipse is coming up in April. It's gonna be a Libra Sun, Aries Moon with that North Node in Aries. And what's interesting about that aspect is there's going to be um, some major aspects too going on with the planet Uranus. So Uranus, it's going to be going in a direct motion. So this Uranus is all about change. It's all about evolution. So this year is definitely a year where we're going to see a lot of forward momentum. The planet Pluto, which represents the power structures, that has gone into Aquarius as well. So Pluto represents the soul. Pluto is the slowest moving planet around the astrology chart. And that being said, it has the most evolutionary change. Pluto represents the power. Pluto has been in Capricorn. Capricorn represents the devil card in astrology, which is linked to materialism and the patriarchy. That's what has gone out of hand. In the last final degrees of each Pluto sign, the energy tends to boil up and spill over. So it represents all the patriarchal nastiness we've been seeing. So this has gotten a lot of people, you know, it's caused a lot of chaos. You know, people like Donald Trump, MAGA, things like that, you know, they represent the nasty old. But what we need to remember is that life brings a constant movement and a constant evolution, and that nothing stays the same, and that these individuals are representing the nastiness of the patriarchy that's spilling over in order to make way for Pluto and Aquarius, which is we're just entering, you know, for the next 20 plus years. So this Aquarius is more about technology, humanity, androgyny, power to the people, group consciousness, electricity, things like this.
So, okay, follow-up question. A lot of astrologers, not every astrologer, which I find interesting, but a lot of astrologers say 29 degrees and 0 degrees, things are like way more volatile. Do you agree? And if
Um,
so, why would you clock it like that?
yeah, so first of all, it definitely represents the say like someone was born at 29 degrees Aries, their sun sign, 29 degrees Pluto would have a way bigger difference. The reason
Mm.
why is because Pluto is evolutionary. It represents the masses. It's very collective. Um, the 29th degree of something like Pluto, it represents the purging. Pluto at the end purges. So for things, that's sort of how things work, right? When energy needs to get, it can't. Unfortunately, we're not evolved enough where it can just sort of disappear into thin air. It needs to purge. It needs to come up. It's gross. It's like spilling out and over. So that represents the last several degrees of Pluto. So it really just represents the sign and the aspect at the 29th degree mark. The 0 degree mark, I see as an astrologer more like the birth of something.
Mm. Very much so. All right, let's talk. Interesting. Let's talk about some trivial things. Trivial as in Donald Trump, Taylor Swift, and who knows what else. But what do you have? What do you see on tap for Trumpy? How's his chart looking?
Trump. Okay. So first of all, Trump has some just major aspects that really represent him as a whole. So the first thing I see when I see Donald Trump's chart, he has a strong 10th house. The 10th house represents the career, it represents the vocation, it represents the public image. The majority of individuals in the political limelight have a 10th house sun sign. It's insane, like 90% or more even. So he has a sun sign sitting next to his north node, sitting next to his Uranus. So we have his ego structure sitting next to his evolutionary direction, sitting next to Uranus, which is chaos, in the astrological sign of Gemini, which is dual. As we know, he used to be a total Democrat. Then he was a total Republican, and now he's just a total man unto himself. Trump, he represents the lower aspect of Gemini. There's a lower and a higher aspect to each sign. The lower aspect of Gemini is can be lies, deceit, very dual, very unstable. And sitting next to that Uranus is the Uranian energies. They bring chaos, they bring disruption, they bring volatility, they bring change, they bring movement. They bring, it's very dynamic energy. So it's sitting next to that sun sign, and he has such an elevated sun sign, all in the 10th house, which is all about the public image, So that pretty much represents Donald Trump. He has his Pluto, which represents power in the 12th house. The 12th house is the house of self-undoing and self-confinement. So this is an eventual self-undoing. This 12th house Pluto can also represent that, towards the end of his life, that he may be either confined to a certain area, or he may kind of mentally fully lose it, and may have to have some sort of confinement because he fully loses it. We'll see how it plays out.
So Jupiter is cruising into Gemini, I want to say mid-year this year, right?
Yes, I believe so.
So when Jupiter meets up with Trump's sun, what are some possible things we could see there?
So good question. So because Trump has been on a downward spiral, Jupiter expands whatever it hits. This is a potential for a stronger expansion. Another thing that's going to happen is the planet Saturn, which represents the Lord of Karma, that is going in a retrograde motion. So what happens is everything, all the lies, all the cheats, all the deceits, it's like it's being reviewed by like the Lord of Karma, the karmic taskmaster. So that being said, it's like come this June, July, there's gonna be like another layer of stuff put on him. And with that, Jupiter's going to expand it more. We know he already owes what, like a large amount of money, hundreds of millions of dollars.
It's 558 million, I think it is.
Yeah, something ridiculous. So we're going to see what happens. All I know is that it's not looking good for him. He's been in this in this downward spiral now for the last couple of years, and it's becoming exponential. Um, you know, all the bad energy he's brought for years has really come down upon him, and then now Pluto going into Aquarius will not call for his shenanigans anymore.
Hmm, interesting. So,
Yeah,
you said you had some stuff on Kamala Harris. Now, I'm curious
I do.
because a lot of I have not. I am the outlier here, but a lot of psychics are saying, "Oh, she's going to be president. She's going to be president." Is that something you could see in the chart?
So I can see indications of leadership in her astrology chart.
Mhm.
Um, so she was born during a full moon. She has a Libra sun and Aries moon.
Mm,
So that's excuse me, that's a air fire axis, very masculine energy. The Libra sun is all about the law, is all about harmonizing relationship. And an Aries moon, so she was born with a full moon in Aries. I I personally don't feel like that is the best full moon sign to be born under for presidency. And the
mm,
reason why is because the moon stands for the emotions. Her Aries moon is really heightened. And an Aries moon can sometimes act a little bit on impulse. And we know in the past, right, she's made some decisions and had some power over individuals where she hasn't really made the best choices. And she's really, I don't want to say screwed up other people's lives unfairly.
oh, you can
You
say it.
know,
I'm not a fan.
yeah, she's done some stuff in the past, and it's like I don't want to
Yes.
hold people for what they've done in the past. Hopefully, you learn from that. But there's just some stuff in her chart that shows a little bit towards like a lot of militarism, a lot of
Yeah.
volatile energy, and it's great
Yes.
she's a woman, but at the same time, like women can be, ruthless as well. You know,
Yeah.
um, yeah, so it just kind of depends. What I find extremely interesting is that in Vedic astrology, um, Biden's star sign is Ashwini, and Ashwini is the first sign in the Vedic astrology chart. It stands for new beginnings. And he even
Mm,
said, like, I'm here for new beginnings. I'm here as sort of like an entryway into the new age. So I thought that was extremely interesting. Um,
mm,
he also has Biden has a strong water element. He has a strong 12th house. He has a very faded chart. Um, so what I'm sort of seeing here is that if he is truly supposed to play out both terms, he will. If not, then it almost astrologically speaking, that it almost seems like there's going to be some higher uh a higher hand that's going to be put in, for something.
mm.
I don't see like any murdering though or anything like that from Biden. I see I if anything astrologically he has a really good chance of winning again. Um will he completely play out the second term? There's still some questioning about that.
Mhm, mhm, mhm. Absolutely. You know, it's funny that you see that in because when I read on Kamala, it's people get mad because I don't really like her. But when I read on her, I get that energy. I get the ruthless. I get the kind of militarized. And she. So as we are Californians, we kind of know her history. That she's we know a lot of people don't really know kind of her backstory, and she hasn't she's been, let me put it this way, not liberal enough for my taste. That's my personal taste. But
Yeah.
um it's interesting that you see it, and I've never heard it explained quite like you have. And
Uh-huh.
it really meshes very well with what I've read on her. Very, very well.
Yeah.
She gets a lot of chariot. She gets a lot of wand cards. She gets a lot of things that I wouldn't necessarily want in a presidential candidate. I mean, it's a lot of go go go, move move move, action action action, which is okay, but I think I prefer somebody a little bit more measured. It's funny because she and Trump actually get a lot of wands all the time, both of them. It's funny because I think it is very much that Aries kind of Gemini. It's that I have a Gemini moon. Oh, God knows I make a lot of interesting decisions that I don't really think about to begin with. But yeah, it's really interesting that you put it that way. So Biden, what about what? Okay, Biden has had. You talk about a fated life. Biden has had some really interesting stuff go down, in the past.
Mhm, mhm.
Where would you pinpoint that in the chart? I mean, he's had a lot of death. He's had a lot of tragedy. Where does that fall? What house or what kind of where do you see that in his chart?
Yeah, so first of all, he has a really strong water element. He has a lot in Scorpio. The water element is strongly linked with karma. He has a lot of placements in the water houses. He has a really full 12th house. The 12th house stands for secrets. It stands for the unknown. It's like I see the 12th house as like very much a house of like unseen forces that are at
Mm,
play. It's the house of Pisces, it's the house of mysticism, it's the house strongest linked to past lives, the subconscious mind, karma. So he's just got a lot in the water signs and the water houses. He also has some really intense square aspects, which show just strong, you know, which indicate just a lot of transformation, a lot of change. Um, he also has, a lot in the Scorpio as well, as I mentioned, and Scorpio is really all about change and transformation. It's about death and rebirth as well. You have a Scorpio stellium, so there's just a lot of shedding, a lot of transformation, a lot of growth, a lot of change with those individuals with a lot of Scorpio.
interesting. All right, so we're gonna end on a high note. We're gonna talk about Taylor Swift. But
Yeah.
before we do that, tell us. Okay, so you say you have a special going on. I want to know about that. I want to know where we can find you. Give me all your social media before we jump into Taylor. Give me all of your information, please, so everybody knows where to find you and they can work with you.
Sure. So my YouTube page is Adam Stargazing Astrology, and I can be contacted via email. It's Adam Astro. That's ADAMASTRO 777 at gmail.com. Yeah, and I believe that information will be put in the description box as well.
Everything will be in the boxes. If you're watching this not on YouTube, then the links will be in the description. The links will be there will be available to you. And you are currently open for bookings, yes?
Yes, yes, I'm currently offering discounted astrological readings for the winter season. So if you'd like to get information on your natal chart, which is also called your birth chart, I offer that for yourself or someone else. Or if you're at any type of crossroads in your life and you need guidance to make decisions, I offer transit charts for that. I also offer transit charts too if there's anything that may have happened in the past that you need reconciliation for. I offer that information
Hmm.
as well. I offer composite charts. So those are relationship charts. If you've just gotten married or if you're in some sort of business partnership, composite charts are really helpful for that. So I do offer a good amount of different charts.
Now, this is my favorite thing about Taylor Swift
Mhm.
is there are so many conspiracy theories about Taylor Swift right now. I mean, this I love, and it's very MAGA. It's definitely right wing. I don't know if there's left wing conspiracies. I've only found the right wing conspiracies, but all this kind of thing where she's secretly working for Joe Biden and just really interesting stuff that she is in cahoots. This is one of my favorites. She is in cahoots not only with the NFL but also with the democratic government of the United States and that like I don't get that triangle. Like what is the NFL? Oh, and the Chiefs game was totally rigged. People are saying it was rigged, and that Taylor had a hand in all of that as well. The Super Bowl. So I'm just curious. What do you see coming in for Taylor? What do you got? Just give us everything you got.
Okay, well Taylor is she has divine protection around her.
Hmm.
Uh First off, I really see Taylor as She is very much a poster child for the new Aquarian age.
Mm.
Her north node, which is her evolutionary direction of progression, is in Aquarius. So Aquarius falls under the umbrella of community. It falls under the realm of politics. And then her south node, which is her springboard, is in Leo. So it makes her a natural performer, a natural entertainer. Things like this come really easy to her. Um, so that being said, I definitely see Taylor having some sort of hand and some sort of say in the political arena. I don't necessarily see her as something like president, so to speak. But I see her as someone having lasting influence. I don't see her as a flash in the pan. She's very much an icon. She's kind of like an Oprah type, you know. Oprah's an Aquarian as well. Oprah's still around and she's wonderful, but on one level, she kind of represents an age that sort of passed already.
Yeah.
So Taylor is very much this gateway for this Aquarian age. She's all about LGBT rights. She very much she's very idealistic, and her high ideals, they really bring people together in a sense of oneness, in a sense of love, in a sense of community. So, in that being said, she's really working for a really positive purpose. And I see those that are working for a positive purpose and have good intentions. I feel like she can't really be doing any wrong. She's of course she's a human and she has her own personal battles like the rest of us, but she's incredibly generous, right? With bonuses and stuff like that.
Oh,
So
yeah.
she really spreads a lot of good energy around. And those that don't like her, there may be some jealousy involved. They really may not know her full story. She's a really hard worker. She actually has a Capricorn stellium. Capricorn represents hard work, discipline. She has that stellium in the second house. And the second house indicates resources earned by your own efforts, by your own acquired efforts. So that being said, she's a hard worker. She has a sun sign in Sagittarius. Sagittarius has a vision. She keeps that vision. She keeps the positivity with the sun sign in Sagittarius. Her Mars is in Scorpio, so she's really driven. Her Mars is also sitting on her ascendant sign, so it's in a sensitive point. So it's just a very heightened Mars. Mars in Scorpio, it's like pedal to the metal. That also gives her that sex appeal. Mars rules sexuality. So she very much has this, this strong sex appeal to her as well. So yeah, that North Node in Aquarius. Her midheaven is in Virgo. So the midheaven represents the public image. And as we know, in the past, she really had this image of purity, right? She didn't want to stay bad because she didn't want to make waves with anyone, So she has this strong sense of physical purity to her, and sort of purity on all levels, So she really represents that as well. She's very much like this innocent, she's very tall. She's like a Disney character almost, the big blonde hair. So I could see, why a lot of people don't like her. They probably don't know about her story. Her mom recently, in the past, was sick with cancer, so she kind of had to go through that. She also had to go through a sexual assault case, in which she ended up winning, but it also forced a lot of compassion on her and understanding, and she dedicated a lot of her music to those individuals who have lost in sexual assault cases. So she's very compassionate as well. She creates a safe space. Her moon's in Cancer. The Cancer moon's very motherly. Her Jupiter is in Cancer, which is considered a really exalted spot. It's a very warm, open spot. Those with the Jupiter in Cancer have had a childhood in which they've had love and support. And so they're able to exude a love supporting energy to other people.
I'm very happy to have a chance to kind of chit chat with you, and you have a you have a great way of putting things, and I really enjoy it. So thank you
Thank
very,
you.
very, very
Yeah,
much.
thanks for having me on. This has been wonderful.
For sure. Thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it. Thank you for taking time out of your day to hang out with us. And to my audience, I say, I do love you. I do adore you. And be well.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.